Hey guys, Jacob with Jacob Comics. Happy New Comic Book Day, May 28th, 2025. Hope all you guys found all your books in your cubby, on the new comic book shop wall, or mailed to you. However you guys get your books, I hope you found all the books you were looking for this week. I know I did here in the loud, mysterious black bag. As usual, I've read all the books that I'm going to share today. And I'm going to give, I've got them listed in order from least favorite to favorite. And I'll kind of share my spoiler-free thoughts on all three. So, without further ado today, give me a follow. Check out the Whatnot shows. I am on a vacation from Whatnot for a little bit, but there's a show there to bookmark like two or 3 weeks from now. We are 7 days away from closing, and I'm super excited. Super black bag out of the way, just super all over the place. I even with Spider-Boy, I honestly kind of was like, did I miss an issue? But I didn't. I read issue 18, but this issue kind of felt like I had skipped an issue, so I think that's more due to just my brain is all over the place now. But I ended up, maybe because of that a little bit, I ended up putting Spider-Boy 19 in my number 3 spot. I ended up getting 3 books this week, a little bit bigger than last week. Still trying to keep it minimal. Basically just, I'm moving and everything and want to make sure all that goes good before I start grabbing 10 plus titles a month again. This one was okay. It did continue like the brand that this has been on, and for that I really applaud it. I think this has been like a breath of fresh air comic for me every month when it comes out. It's very reminiscent of the kinds of books that I read as a child. Mark Waid's Impulse Run really comes to mind when I think of kind of how I feel about this run. And unfortunately, unlike that Mark Waid Impulse Run, we are not going to get much more of Spider-Boy, I guess, because spoilers a little bit, not as to what happens, but in the back of this issue, they reveal issue 20 is going to be the final issue of the run. So that's a little sad, right, guys? Spider-Boy's run's ending. I can't say that I'm surprised. I actually am surprised it went 20. I thought it would, I know, so you know what I mean? You kind of only know your area really well. And I know in my area, the shop that I go to a few weeks back, he had dropped it to like only ordering 3 or 4 outside of what people have on their pull lists. Now, I've maybe never talked about this before, but what a great time to bring up a very, controversial, if you will, topic, but why not? Let's bring it up. I don't do pull lists, guys, and the reason that I don't do pull lists is I want to be able to decide the day that the books come out, that new comic book day, that Wednesday. I want to be able to decide that Wednesday what books I want to get. And I know that makes a lot of comic book store owners frustrated, and a lot of people don't understand. And it has, I will agree, it has led to me missing titles when I wasn't able to go to the store right when it opens and make sure that I get what books I want. Or it's made it so that I've had to go out of town to a different comic book store on occasions to see if they had any left. And so, it's you kind of gotta, for me, you kind of gotta take it with a grain of salt. Like, sometimes it's not going to work out and you're going to have to spend a little extra to get the issues that you want in order to give yourself that choice that week to be able to decide, you know what, I'm just not feeling this anymore, or you know what, this number 1 seems like it'd be really fun, let's give it a try. And I know that's something that you can do 3 or 4 weeks ahead of time on pre-orders, but I find myself not exactly knowing what I'm going to want to pick up 3 or 4 weeks from now. And that's just me, you know. I'm sort of curious, you guys personally, what's everybody's take on pull lists versus no pull lists, getting stuff off the wall, or ordering it from a store or wherever. So that's that topic. Kind of, I probably threw a wrench into this episode, and the comment section is going to be filled with those kinds of thoughts. But that's cool. Let's start up a conversation. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say. Now, in my number 2 spot, I actually put Batman 160, the continuation. It's Hush 2 Part 3. And I kind of liked this issue. Like, I know lots of people have been given a pretty negative review on this particular Hush run. And I myself have... It started off kind of odd, and I felt like we were very thrown into the story. And that continued into the second issue. And obviously into the third, we're well into the story now. But like I'd said kind of with 158, the first part, though I wasn't like a giant fan of where the story was going, or like it seemed a bit, I was confused, if you will. I think that you have to give a story a chance to tell its story before you come in and just, issue 1 wasn't good, so the whole thing's not going to be good. And it's like, you could see bits and pieces in issue 1 that they were trying to set this story up. And they were setting it up super fast, because obviously, Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee don't want to write 2 years worth of Batman stories for us, unfortunately. But, they're going to give us this 6-issue miniseries of it. And so they wanted to jump right into the story. They kind of had to. They're only doing 6 issues. I think it's 6, not 8, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure it's 6. But yeah, so 3 issues in, I'm kind of digging it now. Like, I kind of think this is interesting. And, like, what is Hush going to do? And, this is always spoiler-free, guys, so I'm not going to spoil anything. That's, obviously Hush is there, and what's Hush going to do? But to be able to bring us to issue 3, and you're kind of like, wow, okay, what is he gonna do? He seems to be outsmarting Batman at this point, and that's kind of interesting, or at least someone who is on the level of Batman intelligence-wise and is giving Batman a tough time. It's kind of interesting, and Batman doesn't exactly know what Hush is going to do next, and so we've got this villain for Batman that Batman can't, he doesn't just know automatically what he's going to do and able to kind of decipher the clues like a Riddler or many of his foes that he's had for many years. He can almost kind of predict what they're going to do next, right? And he's struggling with this, not being able to predict what Hush is going to do next, and he can't get a good read on it. And that's kind of interesting to me, to see the ultimate detective coming up against somebody who is very well prepared and has prepared his whole life to equal or surpass Bruce Wayne's ability to decipher and detective a situation. And in my number 1 spot, I've got Uncanny X-Men number 15. Gail Simone's just killing it, guys. This is one of my favorite runs going on right now. The new characters, Jitter, it's Jitter, Ransom, Death Dream, and Calico, or the one that rides the horse. I'm super invested in these kids, man, and the art in this issue was really good. Like, it it starts off kind of like your average comic book art because we're but then we kind of go into this other part of the story that's dealing with this dark artery storyline, and things have changed because we travel further into this mystery box, very reminiscent of like a J.J. Abrams box of mystery. As I'm reading through this, like, please, the next page, please tell me more. You know what I mean? You're just like, gosh, what is this? And I want to know. And as the reveals kind of come slowly, they bring about new questions. And her writing is just so slick, guys. It's so slick and captivating, and so much reminds me of like watching this newer X-Men 97 series where kind of like you could tell that things were thought out well in advance and set up in the early part, so that the payoffs are that much stronger. And that's another one of the very strong points about her storytelling style that we are 14, I think we're 14, 15, we're 15 issues in now at this point on her run. And her storytelling style has stayed distinct, and in this way throughout the run of telling these vignettes of stories. I think I've tried to explain this before, but imagine, if you will, you've got 3 to 4 stories going on at the same time, and you're kind of interpositioning bits and pieces of the story. And so even though maybe at first you don't connect with one of the newer story arcs, as you kind of, you continue with it because you're trying to find out where the other story arcs are trailing off. But as those trail off, the new story arcs that are jumping in there are getting so much stronger. And so it's this really good kind of dichotomy of one storyline dying down while another's just revving up, while another is at its midpoint, right? And she's always keeping that balance of the new storyline coming in as the old storyline is bowing out. So it's just really great storytelling. I have no other way to describe it than what I just tried to explain, but it's really great storytelling, and it's a great structure that she's chosen for this X-Men series, which is giving us more of a chance to glimpse into each individual character on a more personal, more feeling like that story is being told from their perspective. Like, I think I had spoke about this in some of the earlier parts of the run where Rogue was inner monologuing kind of throughout the panels, and that's continuing right now. It went away for a little while, and now we have Rogue back. Some of Rogue's inner monologues with one of the stories that's taking place. It doesn't spoil anything. And then, when you're getting to maybe some of the outliers, these 4 new characters that have been introduced in this run, getting to their story, you might be in the head of Calico, or you might be looking at this from the perspective of Death Dream and getting to know him better. And I think that's such a smart way to introduce us to these characters and kind of get us invested in them as we go. And I definitely hope that this run continues. Of all the runs that I've read in the last couple years, I'll be so very disappointed if this one is cut short. I'd love to see her on the title for another 5 years, honestly. That's what I have today, guys. I'm having a great time, packing and getting everything ready for the move. Heads up to, so next Wednesday is closing day and new comic book day. So I'm gonna find some way to obviously try to get my books. But as far as getting out a review for you guys, the next week's review show is definitely going to be late. I just know it is. I don't see any way that I'm going to be able to power that in anywhere with any sort of actually giving a good thought process to the episode and the things that I want to say and point out about the books. So that's next week's will probably be a bit delayed. I'm not sure, but tentatively we might even be looking at one of the situations like we had a few months back where I missed an episode and just wasn't able to even make it up on that weekend, and decided that I would do a double episode the following week so that you would get 2 weeks worth of books, and that might be what happens, unfortunately, but that's going to allow me to focus on other things this coming, not this weekend, but the weekend after the move. I'm sure there will still be all kinds of stuff that needs to be done, and you guys get it. I'm moving. Do the best I can. We'll try to get an episode out as soon as we can. At the very latest, it'll be a double paired up issue, and you guys will see me again in 2 weeks. So that's what I have today, guys. As always, like, comment, subscribe. YouTube algorithm is a real thing. We'll see you guys next time, and have a great day.